Welcome back to SaharaTV. My name is Rudolf Okonkwo. Our next guest arrived in Pretoria, South Africa about 4 hours ago. His first task on arrival was to send out a tweet announcing that President Buhari has left Nigeria for South Africa and will be arriving in 2 hours' time. He published pictures of Buhari leaving Abuja for African Union meeting in South Africa. It was a necessary move because news report this morning suggested that Buhari was absent at the AU meeting. It's my pleasure to welcome back to SaharaTV the new Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Mallam Garba. Mallam Garba, welcome back to SaharaTV.
Thank you, Rudolf. Nice talking to you.
And congrats on your new position.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So is the President in South Africa now?
He's already into the meeting of the AU Peace and Security Committee, which, Nigeria is the current chairman, who is chairing over the meeting.
Okay, he's...
as I speak to you now.
Okay, that's good. Now, yesterday you sent out a tweet where you said that the mission to change Nigeria is still on course. Were there doubts that the mission had been derailed or anything like that?
Well, I think that given the events that happened in the National Assembly in the last 2 days, obviously the PDP was rejected outright in the last election. And I think that there was concern being expressed by some Nigerians, seeing, PDP coming back into the highest level of government in the country. So that concern is there, but I think that the dust has begun to settle down. I think people are beginning to see that all of the parties work together, and it is not in doubt that there is commitment, on both sides.
Now, yeah. We'll get to that, what happened at the National Assembly, but I wanted to ask you, a lot of people are saying that the President promised that he will hit the ground running, and that they don't seem to have seen that, and they make reference to the issue of appointments. They looked at some governors in River State, in Kaduna State. They've been able to appoint key positions in the government. Why is it taking Buhari so long to make some appointments, those that he has control over, and even to name people that will be members of the ministers?
Okay, let me say this. You know that in 2011, people who make a reference to Rivers and Kaduna now, after the elections in 2011, if you check the record, the governor, virtually all of them in the Southwest, took 3 months to form their government. In fact, in particular, it was 6 months. I'm not saying that is a good model. So this thing, there's no rule as to how to do this. Now, he said President Buhari did say he will hit the ground running. But you can see yourself that he was not given the chance to hit the ground running, because the administration that he succeeded in the Jonathan administration, they are all aware that they didn't give them handover notes until 2-3 days to the handover May 29th, meaning that this handover notes was submitted at a time when everyone had been consumed by the matters of the inauguration. And certainly there was no time to look at them until after the president had been inaugurated. Now, the president will not start shooting in the dark. He had to understand what his vision is, what is there on the ground. The nuances, everything as it is now. It is only Friday this week. Friday this week that the committee led by Dr. Ahmed Joda that is set up to scrutinize the handover note that handed him a report. So to be fair to him, he would have hit the ground running if the government had given handover notes. In fact, aware that the government, Jonathan government, did not even permit any minister or the heads of government departments to interact in any way with the Buhari Transition Committee. So we had our hands tied to our back until we took over on May 29. So there's nothing extraordinary about it. And President Buhari himself joked about this yesterday and said, well, if I have used this committee as the excuse why I haven't made those appointments, you have now handed in your report, you have finished your job. So I think that we should be patient. I believe that in the coming, periods, every day is perhaps, you would certainly see some of these appointments going. Besides, I must say, it's not that Mr. Buhari has not. You can look at the single-minded determination with which he has attended to the issue of security in the country. Since he started, for one day he never looked away from that issue. He's been on it what he wants. He works in the foreign country. In the foreign country, yeah.
Okay.
In the foreign countries. After all of that, then the G7, and here we are attending the AU, about which also we are at matters of security.
Now let's touch on the issue of the National Assembly. There were conflicting press releases from your office. One was saying that the president was, that a constitutional process took place, even though it fell short of what the president or the party expected. And there was another statement saying that the president asked the clerk of the Senate to delay the process, the voting, before, so that he could meet with the APC leaders who were waiting for him. What is, now some people in the party are saying that maybe the president knew what was going to happen and was behind it. What is your position? What is the president thinking about that?
Let me say that there is nothing conflicting about what you have said. It's a matter of courtesy. Courtesy demands that the office of the president be given that respect. The PDP, which issued a statement saying that a delay would have embarrassed the country, reporters should ask us, how many times did they suspend the plenary of the National Assembly for them, either in the chambers, senators or reps, to go into PDP caucus? They have done this so many times. So a party requires to meet, to organize itself, and it's given, it's taken for granted. So Buhari could not have had any sinister motives in wanting to meet his party members in order that he conveys an important message to them. And he was not allowed that chance, because at the time when he was setting out to go, the National Assembly had begun voting. So the mission was aborted. I mean, there's nothing wrong about that. The fact that he said that he would work with the National Assembly is consistent with his position as a principled Democrat. He's a body recognized by them that is independent of his own control. He cannot control them. So they, in their own view, have carried out what he said, a somewhat constitutional process. So let them have it. He will work with them as they are. So there's no conflict, absolutely.
All right, let me get to other things. I know you don't have a lot of time to be with us for this conversation. So the next issue is, there was a list published today, names of people who were published in the newspaper, or The Nation in particular, saying that these are people nominated to be ministers. Have you seen the list? Are they actually, is it the truth? Is it the list from the president?
Look, it is a speculative report. Okay. And it would not be proper to believe those kind of things. Because for now, if President Buhari has a list to release to the public, he will be doing so through the special advisor, female additional, myself. He hasn't done that. He hasn't talked to us. So therefore, unless we see and he talks to us, there's nothing like that.
Okay.
In any case, it's not the beginning. Lists have been written online, offline, all this period. So this is just one more addition.
Okay, let's leave that. Let me ask you, there are news report that the vice president tried several times, about twice now, to go into security meetings and he wasn't allowed in. What is the truth about that story? Is it true or false? And what's going on with that?
Let me say that was the creation of somebody who wanted to do something. There was the one report that I read about that his absence was on the day he had traveled to Sudan to represent the president and the government and people of Nigeria at the inauguration of that country's president. He cannot have been present in two places at the same time. He had duly gone there. Vice President Sudan will present at meetings of security nature, of whatever nature, if the president himself had traveled. So, but these things that come mostly offline. I mean, the price of free expression people have to pay, for this kind of thing. But people like you and Nawati, that you ask and you wish to know what other parts of the situation. Professor Oshibaji is the vice president of Nigeria. In the absence of the president, he's the president. So there cannot be dark corners into which he would not be allowed. It's not true.
Okay. Now, one last question. I know you have to run. Now, there are these reports that former government officials, former governors, are returning money to the government. Is it true, and what is the legal backing behind such an idea?
Well, let me say to you, I also read that report as it did in the press. I have no knowledge of anything like that. I know that there's an oral Hausa poet who had sang a song like that, saying people, whoever has stolen Buhari is power, they are now return what you have stolen. If they have listened to that oral poetry and began to put a fantastic idea, Nigerians, we need that money back. I believe that the wise guys will do exactly that before they come to ask you.
Now, all right, your line is very, it's not very clear, but I know that we don't want to lose you entirely. But let me say, you're now in South Africa. Do you have any idea when we are going to get an announcement on the people that are going to be nominated for the positions and ministerial positions? Can you tell Nigerians anything? If time frame?
Well, you know that the Senate, National Assembly, whenever such nominations are made, the National Assembly will have to screen them and okay them for the president to appoint them. The National Assembly needed to have been in place for any such nomination to be made. But now we're just seeing the madness of leaders of the National Assembly. The National Assembly also works from a committee system. Now, you don't throw in a list in that kind of situation. And then it will be low cut. There's nothing to do with it until the machinery is ready to move. So I'm not trying to give excuses, but seeing the techniques of our democratic system, you know that it's like President Buhari will release a list of ministers tomorrow to the National Assembly. They will just merely use it and lock them up because systematically they are not prepared to post on like screen. So I believe that we are watching the evolution of the parliament, and they will do their part.
All right. Mallam Garba Shehu, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Rudolf. Nice talking to you.
You're welcome. When we come back, we are going to talk to several analysts who will help us understand some of these issues going on in the country. And we have Lolo Akonde, a journalist who just returned from Nigeria. He will tell us what he saw and why the process is kind of slow. Stay tuned.